A lot of people expect the person that leaves, goes to war, for that same person to come back, and they never do. Vietnam, we grew up very fast. You had no choice. I was a combat engineer over there in land clearing. 62% of our operators had Purple Hearts. Not a real good average, but what we would do is they would go out in the jungle and they'd get a lot of infiltration out of an area, they couldn't find them, and we'd go in and level the jungle and dig them out. After you're there a while, you learn not to make real close friends. You work with guys every day and everything else, but you not try to get real close to them. It's a lot easier to pick somebody up that you haven't worked with or you're not friends with. If you know them, well, do our job, we got one another's backs. But it's a whole lot easier to pick them up and put them on the chopper than somebody that's real close, because once you put them on that chopper, they're all done. We were there 13 and a half months, and if we could take our younger generation about the time they get into middle school and take them to a third world country for a week and let them see what life is like, they have no idea. I don't care, you can go into the forest areas of any one of these cities, they have it much better than they do in a third world country. Morals, there isn't such a thing. Vietnam, one thing, you never knew who was friend or foe, because they can change clothes in a hurry. The last time I was wounded in Vietnam was July 4th, 1969. And we were on a D-7 Caterpillar, and we severed the bomb was big enough that it severed the transmission from the torque converter, so there wasn't a whole lot left. And we spent the next 2.5 months in a burn center in Japan, and then was hospital flighted back Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, and then to Fort Riley, Kansas, where I was discharged. And that was one of the hardest things I had to do. I felt like when I left over there, I left something that wasn't finished. I wanted to be able to go back, and they said, no, we've got no use for you anymore. You're no good to us. It was a different time. Maybe the body wasn't ready, but I was. A lot of the guys had a harder time coming home. When you get home, you try to figure out who you are or what you are. Nothing's the same. Come back here, and people used to run around with that didn't go in service, they're still kids. They act like kids. I guess we just distance ourselves from everybody. We run the Veterans Freedom Center in Dubuque. We help run it. I'm one of the co-founders. And one of the best things I ever did in my life was the family and stuff get involved down there, because we can help other veterans. It took me 45 years to get help. And we finally went through PTSD and everything else. It never goes away, but you can learn how to live with it. And our problem right now is we've got so many of our veterans from this era in Iraq and Afghanistan that have the same problems. And if we can reach out to them and get a hold of them, because 20 veterans a day commit suicide, and that's totally asinine. There's no friggin' reason for it. All you got to do is show them that they're not the only ones with that, and they can get help. I worked at John Deere for 36 years, and the way I got through that was to work nights. You didn't have the calamity and everything else, and if you've got PTSD real bad, you can't deal with stupid. And it sounds like a smart-ass comment, but it's not. I literally mean you have a hard time. Even with the center, I have a hard time being in large groups of people. And it took many years to figure out what we had. Uh, when I first come back home, I was a total asshole, to put it bluntly. You couldn't drink enough. Yeah, you had all kinds of trouble. I quit drinking in 1983. It's the best thing I ever did in my life. Since we've started the Freedom Center and we're helping other veterans that's had problems and we're getting them help, it's one of the most rewarding things. My PTSD does better now than it has since I came home. It's a great thing. We just got to find the rest of them that need the help, because they helped us. Now it's time for us to help them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, thank you, number one, for your service.
Thank you.
I want to ask, what does that mean to you when you hear that? When you hear somebody
Right
say,
now, it means a lot. When I first came home, that was something you never heard. And recognition, it's just, you can change. You see that person off over in the corner. He's off by himself, not saying nothing, and he's kind of grumpy. Don't judge a person. When they've got these hats on, you don't know what's in their mind or what's going through their mind. Just walk by and say, thanks for your service. You can bring him out of a hole that day. And sometimes that's all it takes. We go to all the schools through the center, and I always tell people, when you see a service member in an airport, just reach out, shake their hand, thanks for what you're doing. That's all it takes, and just keep going. You don't know where they're going, where they're coming from. But believe me, it makes a difference. You can put a person in a lot better mood. And to know people care, we put up with 30, 40 years of people doing it the other way. And right now there's a bumper sticker out there that says, never again will one generation of veterans ever forget another. It's the way it should be now. It's taken a lot of fighting for over the years. The DAV, the Legion, and all the service organizations. And it's taken a lot of fighting, and they're the ones that's changed that. And I hope we're a small part of that. But I'll tell you, it means a difference. One of the hard things I had to accept one day, me and my wife were out eating supper, and the girl come up and asked for the check. She said, that was taken care of. I said, by who? She said, just a couple that said thank you. That's unreal. It really is. Do I expect that? No. But I'll tell you what, it makes you think. Like I said, when I go on this honor flight this spring, the hardest thing I got to do in my life since Vietnam is to face that Vietnam Memorial. Know a lot of people on there. It'll be hard, but it's something we all got to do and face. So we'll get there. We've got through it this far. We'll get through that one too.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Never judge a veteran by his looks. I don't care if he's homeless or anything else. There's a reason they are. Some of them can't cope with what they've done. That's a hard thing to do. So just never judge them wrong. Try to give one a hand. Thank you.